Oh, hello, Kung Fu Panda 4 hater.
Kung Fu Panda 4 is a good movie that has been ruined by terrible comedic choices.
Oh, I can't wait for this video essay.
No, okay. So here is my take, right? I feel like some producer came in and mucked up the movie. And
Why?
this is why. I think there was actually some very solid moments. I actually enjoy the movie overall. Hmm?
Sorry, I just realized you haven't even said hi to me. Your first words were Kung Fu Panda 4 is a good movie with terrible comedic choices.
I don't know why I keep making these awkward pauses when this is just a video. um no, so okay, so here's my take, right? If I had like control in the editing room, right? Like I am literally saying without even like new shots, right? Literally just cutting out certain moments, I actually think the movie could have been like a 7 or 8 out of 10.
Well, what specific moments were there?
It was the comedic moments, right? So it was like how they're in like okay, so like this is an example of one, right? Where like for some reason now Poe has the little fucking angels over each shoulder basically, right? Or inner voice or whatever the fuck, right? So it's so
Completely
it's like
forgot about that.
so it's like big dramatic fight scene. Poe gets knocked on his ass, and now he's just rambling to himself like fucking Kronk from the Emperor's New Groove.
I will say I do wish they took the movie more seriously.
And then another example. So like after they gather all the thieves to like go fucking raid the palace or whatever you want to call it, right? Similar thing. Cool scene. It works out. I understand the dad trying to overplay shit because it is intentionally built up that the dad is a goof, right? Like the panda dad, right? I
Uh-huh.
think it's Ping, isn't it? No, that's the goose. I forget the panda's name, but you get the idea, right? Um
Mhm.
Anywho, similar thing. So like, like they're making a push onto the wall. Big dramatic moment, right? And then fucking Goose and Panda are just sitting in the back sipping fucking macchiatos. What?
Um,
Discussing if it is spiced right?
yes, that is weird. If you can look past the shitty moments,
No,
it's a
again,
good
as I
movie.
said, the
Look,
shitty
I'm
moments.
I'm happy.
If you skip the shitty moments, 8 out of 10, right? Like genuinely very solid movie. It plummets to like a 6.5 because the issue is that almost any emotional moment they then undercut, right?
So let's say I was like, all right, check out this movie, and then we watch it, and then I literally just like I went into an editing software and just cut it out and replaced it with nothing. Like I just like cut it and then I stitched the videos back together.
8 out of 10.
Would you like? I'm talking like shit don't make sense anymore.
No, because
Like
because
minimal effort to
that's
rebuild it.
no, that's the issue. As I said literally earlier, literally just give me an editor and like fucking like 10 minutes, right? I can go in,
Mm-hmm.
cut out basically every single one of those shots because they don't fucking matter, and then done, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, like I have like some minor complaints. Like I think it's over animated in some places, right? Like they're like they're kind of skidding too much into like, oh, it's a cartoon, right? So I don't like that, but like that's whatever, right? Um,
Mm-hmm.
what currently pisses me off is that it's like you're trying to have like an emotional moment and then it's just like, oh, comedic relief, right? Like they literally turned it into like a pseudo Family Guy skit where there's a cutaway joke, right? A la the macchiatos, right? Because like Kung Fu Panda was never a series where like, like hammer space was really a thing, right? Like there was never a time where like Poe pulled out of his ass a fucking sword, right? And then
Right.
now it's just like, oh, there's two fucking lawn chairs and like two coconut drinks that they just happened to make during this fucking battle scene. Are you fucking serious? right?
Mm-hmm.
And like, oh my god, like yeah, it's just annoying because like okay, I'm gonna like skipping over that. There is two scenes that I will sort of, or sorry, two things that I will sort of say. The first is, or sorry, my two major complaints outside of those moments are that, again, over animated, really minor complaint by comparison, like genuinely minor, like crumb on the plate beside a piece of fucking pie, right? And then issue two that I had was that I felt like it was kind of just a retread of kind of 2 and 3. Like, it didn't really feel that different. Like, I feel like, you know, like, okay, an example, Lord of the Rings, right? If you sat down for like a day and you're like, hey, we're watching the trilogy tonight, right? What the thing is there is that each movie genuinely has unique beats and different moments, and yes, there is similar things like, ooh, there's a montage in every movie of them traveling, right? Or like, oh, there's always like kind of like some war fight in it somewhere, but like it kind of scales, right? So it's like the first one, it's like a small group of orcs, second one, it's like a big wall, and then like the third one's like, this is the fight that decides everything, right? But whatever, like, not a huge deal, you can still enjoy them, right? And because of the escalating scale, it does feel better. When this kind of just feels like the third movie kind of repeated a little bit, right? Like, if you remember the third one, it's like, oh, you know, sorcerer guy shows up, steals the powers of others, you know, wants to rule the valley. It's like copy paste, right?
One of the things that I actually took from the movie that I probably wasn't supposed to take from the movie is that Aquafina is in the movie. And do you know anything about Aquafina?
Aquafina's in the movie, like an actor, you mean?
Well, Aquafina is like a rapper that's like a chick. Think of her like Cardi B, but for pop music.
Are you talking about the water? No.
No, it's like Ack or something, like ACK.
Damn, they really spelled Aquafina wrong. Anyways,
I think it's like
no.
I think it's like that.
It is basically exactly that. Carry on.
Yeah. Anyways, I always hated that person. I thought they were like trashy and like stupid. But it's actually really funny how well they fit into a VA role, to the point where I think that they're better off as a VA than an artist.
Oh, they played the Fennec. Yeah, I mean, I think they were fine. The only thing I felt was like their voice was a little bit scratchy, but like I don't know if that was the performance or what. What I'll say about this, to be spicy for 3 minutes, right, is here's why I don't like the scratchiness. Like that isn't me like hating on them. It's the idea of that Poe is old and needs to pass on like the reins, right? Like he's reaching end of life or whatever, right? Not like end of life, but you know, it's like, oh, you need to be more responsible now that you're growing up, and you know, blah blah blah, right? And like on paper that's cool, but the Fennec sounds older than Poe.
So you know something.
Maybe I do, maybe I don't.
Right?
She does. I was actually wondering if I should be getting like MILF energy from her in the movie.
I think the story's cool, but from like a context, this is like fucking getting like Betty Crocker to come in and fucking do the voice of the Fennec to me, right? I think they should have done like a coming of age thing where Poe is getting older. Pull a fucking Cars 3, right? Poe is getting older, and like maybe now he's not losing, but he's starting to get his ass kicked, right? Like he's like he's clearly not winning as easily. Give him an actual reason to like pass on the torch other than Shifu coming in and being like, but Oogway gave you the staff. Cause like, okay, like Shifu, you're still alive. Like, is that not fine? Like, can you not take over? Are you doing something else? Cause right now you seem to be filling the role of Oogway, right? And then, like, I understand that, that like, he basically said, like, no, he gave the staff to you, so, like, you know, you need to be the one to look over the valley. And it's like, I understand that. But then who's been running the fucking valley? Right? Like if that's how they're justifying this, that either means that the events of Kung Fu Panda 4 basically took place right after fucking Kung Fu Panda 3, which doesn't make a lot of sense, and in the intro cutscene where they're like, oh yeah, the Furious Five are off doing whatever the fuck, right? Like fucking, you know, Vipers taming some fucking like bringing peace to like the, what is it, the Vipers and the fucking mongoose or something, mongoose. I think that's literally the line that fucking posts on the movie. Anyways, then they clearly established there's been time, right? So then it's like, okay, is like Shifu just saying fuck it and wants to retire, right? Because if that's the case, sure. Then what would be kind of neat to see would be a scene like between Oogway and fucking Shifu, but between Shifu and Po, right? Maybe not the whole fucking Shifu dies thing. Like, you gotta sell your marketable plushie, right? But carry on, I guess, extend, is an issue that I have with this film, is that it, to me, does not feel like it does anything unique compared to the last, right? What I think would have been a lot kind of neater is if there was a sort of thing where it's like, you know, you are going to be like your parents, maybe not the same, but similar, and all the things that they had to do, you will one day have to do yourself type thing, right? And I think that would have been like kind of like a coming of age thing, but like in multiple steps. So like for instance, the fucking Fox character would have been like young Po, because they already have that energy a little bit, right? You know, Po would be like the sort of Shifu, and then fucking Shifu would have been Oogway. And then it could have been the whole thing where, you know, like the whole fucking column shifts left, like everybody takes a step up, right?
It seems like that's what they were trying to do.
It seems like what they were trying to do, but it seems like they fucking flopped it and didn't really know what they wanted to do, right? Because they still resorted to what I feel like at the end of the day is just, haha, tame the fox, right? I will say this, her being a twist, like, you know, working for the chameleon, I actually think that was a fine twist. I don't hate it, right? I normally don't like twist villains. I think this one was fine, right? Or twist anti-heroes, whatever, right? I think she was fine on it.
I didn't see it coming, because I didn't see it coming, and I liked that, I mean, it was kind of cliche, but I liked that she was like, I didn't want to do it, but I had to, or whatever.
Yeah, but then what I don't like about that either is that she kind of didn't really seem to have any remorse until it happened, right? And then as soon as it happened, it was like, oh no, whatever, right? Like it was one of those things where like I would have liked to have seen her, like maybe as they enter the city, maybe she starts to become more hesitant, right? Like, apparently for everybody hating her in the city for whatever reason, they just all kind of seem like, you know, like they walk in like everything's fine, right? Even though it seems like everywhere they would have gone, they would have got their ass kicked, right? And like,
I mean, if you think about it, the way I interpreted that is it was like the equivalent of like leaving the hood.
Yeah. But totally, that was definitely a part of it, and then they also added a little bit more context later with them like kind of, you know, becoming like the fucking, you know, chameleon's fucking second hand or apprentice or whatever,
Bitch.
right? Butch.
Oh, I was saying that she turned into the chameleon's bitch.
Oh, yeah. Sorry, I thought you were referring to me for a second because you do that. So.
No, you are a bitch, but not the chameleon's bitch.
Yes, and I mean, hey, I don't know. I mean, she got a tongue, like.
I mean, that tongue do what though?
Exactly. Bro, if you fucking blindfold me, you can tell me it's tentacle porn, and then like, whoa, no. Being real, I think it has a good enough base that it would have passed. It just frustrates me because it's like what I liked before was that like Po was always kind of like the overconfident clown character, right? And like for me that definitely fit a bit more of an angle of like, yeah, you know, like it kind of makes sense because it's like, you know, they're kind of an outcast, and like, you know, it's kind of like the whole thing, like just because you're an outcast doesn't mean like, you know, you can't be somebody sort of energy, right? And like that was all cool. And even then there was like the occasional silly moment that fucking I actually found fucking funny, like the fucking fart joke with like the sneeze, Like, that was super unexpected and stupid, but I actually kind of liked it, right?
Which joke was that?
The fox brushes Poe's tail. So then he's about to sneeze, and then, like, she plugs his nose. But instead of sneezing, it, like, goes through his body to the other side.
I think I completely forgot about that.
Yeah. I noticed they tried to do fucking, like, Asian remakes of American songs, and it's like, just fucking stop. Right? Like, I don't need fucking Crazy Train Kung Fu Panda version, right?
I liked that it was original to the like
The degree
I
that
really
it was.
like that they didn't just I really like that they didn't just play something that makes no fucking sense, like Crazy Train, like with AC/DC or whoever makes it.
Ozzy Osbourne.
And yeah, I really like that they didn't just play that, because that would have been really frustrating. Kind of weird, because now Ozzy Osbourne and Aquafina both share an IMDb page on one thing at least.
And Jack Black, don't forget that.
Yeah, I feel like I thought it was clever, because I feel like it wasn't in your face, it was just kind of not really noticeable.
I appreciate that, but then the issue is I've discussed this before. The issue is that to me it's a fucking poke in the ribs, right? So like to carry on, I will say this is the bar of what I consider acceptable, right? And that doesn't mean like I have to hate on films or whatever. The reason why I say the bar of acceptable is because, like, at least they did something, right? Like, it's like how you'll see fucking advertisements or propaganda where they hire a big artist or get this song, right? And it's just like, I understand there's probably some, like, psychology thing to it, but, like, if you're not a complete idiot, you'll probably recognize it for the pandering that it is, right? Like, I've established this before. I enjoy deadmau5's music, right? I like his music in a lot of ways, but, like, I think all the NFT shit he did was fucking stupid and basically cashing out on his brand.
I remember you sounding kind of devastated with the whole NFT thing.
Well, I wasn't devastated, but it's just like, dude, like, you haven't released music for, like, months, at least, right? And, like, you're doing, like, NFT shit. Like, I'll be spicy. I won't say that this is an unwarranted addition, but unless they do something really good with 5, this is effectively going to be, like, what I consider to be, like, the canonical end, right? Not like actually, but, you know, like, my personal opinion for it.
I'm willing to bet, because they left it on such an ambiguous note, there's going to be a 5th one, and they're going to write off the Fennec character somehow.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, like, it's one of those things where the ending to me felt proper, because they did, like, the whole, like, peach tree thing, right? Where you have the peach tree, the sapling, and then the sprout, right? So it's like the circle of life. It's happening, right? I think it was good in quite a few ways, but I just genuinely feel like there was kind of 3 different people who wanted 3 different things, right? And because of that, they just kind of pulled the movie in different directions and couldn't really decide, right? I just feel like they didn't decide where to properly execute on this, right? I've actually seen a lot of images saying that the chameleon's, like, a terrible villain, like, just from the thumbnails, right? So, like, I'm not going to pretend I read their argument, because, like, I haven't, to be very clear, right? Like, I haven't watched the videos, I haven't interpreted it. I don't think the chameleon's a bad villain. The only thing I don't like about it is that they feel like they kind of just feels like a rehash of 3. And, like, I know it's kind of hard to, like, push past that or whatever, and I'm sure they were trying to do some sort of symbolism with, like, Poe fighting the chameleon as Poe, right? But, like, I just really would have tried to have put, like, this villain through, like, the washboard a few times, right? Because, like, this is, like, what, like, the 4th villain that's like, I'm taking over China, right? This movie kind of had, like, an Avengers issue, right? Where it's like, we saved the world from Thanos. What now? Right? Like, you kind of can't really go past, like, half the universe, really, except for, like, the whole universe, right? But that's basically the same stakes, right? So, like, I think there's a bit of a power scaling issue, so I think it would have been a lot more interesting to have a more dynamic villain, right? Or a villain with more depth, because I think the Peacock had, like, a good amount of depth, right? I think it was a bit overdone, but, like, I would still prefer, I think, the Peacock compared to the Chameleon, right? Trying to think of what else from there. I'm not upset they dropped the 5, because, you know, in this instance, hey, if Poe could barely beat if Poe could almost beat the lady by herself, the Chameleon, then, like, the 5 would have been basically, you know, like, oh, insta gank, right? And I'm sure they would have written it in some way that it worked out or whatever. But
Well, no. What they would have done if they did include the 5 is they would have all have been like kidnapped by them or something.
they would have their powers stolen or whatever.
Their powers would have get stolen.
Yeah.
And then Poe would have to like beat up all the 5, which I think has already happened
In 3.
in the one before.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there we go. And honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if there's a degree of it where it's like the actors didn't really want to come back for it, you know? I wouldn't be surprised if that was part of the case. But, like,
I think they were dropped. Not dropped, but I think they were like not allowed. I think they just didn't want him back for this movie.
sure, anything works, really. I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised if some of the actors were a bit resentful. But I'm trying to think of what else to say from there. I don't know. Like I think it's like relatively fine, right? I just also think that like this movie kind of shit the bed a little bit, right? And it just skidded too hard into the slapstick. Like I really wish they would have refined it more, and I really wish they would have kind of picked a more direct focus. I think the sort of cycle of life thing, if they focus more on that and cut out the comedic moments, would have made this a much better film.